We're at the center of the Legacy Garden, which is right behind the farm center in the middle of Charlottetown, right on the corner of what is actually the oldest experimental farm that Agriculture Canada has in the country. It celebrated its 100th anniversary just last year. The farm is actually unique in Canada in that it's the only research station that allows public access. Many of the things that we're doing here actually have a long history on this property. The building itself has actually been an office building for many of the farm organizations, but it's been more than that. It's been a place that allows people from different backgrounds and different perspectives to come together and celebrate island agriculture. The current trend among the new generation of farmers tends to be a different way of farming than their parents had adopted. There was an opportunity here to sort of showcase that and reignite some of the enthusiasm of food production in the community and with a whole new emerging generation of agricultural people.
What is most special right now about this project is the community that is growing and developing in this space. And I was one of many people that saw opportunity in this landscape, this really unique opportunity to get involved more actively in some really great land, in a really great location. And a number of us were kind of asking, what's the potential for this space? Could we be talking about community gardens, orchards, urban farming, some sort of recreational, educational park? And the Farm Center Association was kind of at the forefront of asking these questions as it was evaluating its own path and process and into the future. We've got a large group of people who are increasingly committed to this space, who are learning new skills in growing food and are sharing them with one another. We've got some expert gardeners in the garden and a lot of new gardeners as well. So there's a lot of experimentation happening there, and we've come to rely on those people, our garden mentors, who are willing to invest their time and energy to helping us all out in this journey. We also have newcomer gardeners who come from a diverse set of backgrounds and experiences in horticulture and farming, who are showing us a few things as well.
There have been numerous studies that show that when people grow even a small portion of their food, they tend to eat healthier food in general. You know, if they can grow a couple of carrots, they're more likely, after their carrots are done, to go buy some carrots. So yeah, that's what makes it really important.
And the people that I've met in the garden, it's just so nice. It brings community back so strong. You know, everybody is, oh, I can do that. If you can't be here, I'm more than willing to do that for you. What a wide variety of people. It's unbelievable. There's young families. There are people who are retired. There are people who just want to get back to the basics, you know. We have a veterinarian student, we have teachers, we have, every walk of life is here. And then we have so many activities. We have so many barbecues and just get-togethers and all that kind of thing, you know. And if you have a problem with anything, you've got the farm center. What's this? Is this a good bug or a bad bug, or, you know, and all this kind of thing. What can I do about that? There's just a wealth of knowledge here to help us.
Some of the bugs that will invade us probably this summer. One that I have a lot of trouble with is the carrot rust. With this mint, if you pick off just the green leaves that you see, 2 days later.
I think one of the values of the project is helping people understand how much work there is in growing food. You know, to really appreciate the effort that goes into some broccoli or a bunch of carrots or some nice tomatoes. And so part of it is about helping people develop the skills to grow their own food, but also to really appreciate and perhaps think more actively about how they source their food and the real cost of food.
I think The most important thing is that we need to plan for the future, and we need to be looking at not just what's important today, but what will be important. What are some of the effects of climate change on PEI and in Charlottetown specifically? So how can we create a lot of resiliency in our city by giving people the tools they need to have a good quality of life going forward, and making sure we're using resources in an efficient way and not negatively impacting the environment. I think there certainly is a large segment of the population that think about sustainability, and sometimes it's that the issues that they're talking about certainly fit under that heading, but they don't necessarily think of that word. They might be concerned about their ability to purchase food, and that's where we can tie in things like food security, and they don't necessarily correlate it with sustainability, but it does fit under that, and it's things that we want to look at and support them in doing.
We created an urban farm. It's very productive, and all of that food is being given to charities, which is very important on Prince Edward Island. A year ago, a study came out that identified Prince Edward Island as one of the most food insecure places in all of Canada.
One of our main avenues of distribution right now is through the Salvation Army. The other organizations we're working with, one is the Anderson House, the women's shelter, and the Upper Room Ministry and Food Bank. Lately we've been harvesting 3 times a week, and we have volunteers who come and help us in the mornings. We have people coming from the Salvation Army who actually pick everything up, and that gets shared at their friendship room. Basically, people who use the Salvation Army's soup kitchen and food bank, they're welcome to come in. It's almost like a little marketplace of vegetables. It was really nice. We were talking to one woman. She is a grandmother of, I think, 6 children that she's taking care of herself, and for her it was a way to kind of improve the diets of the kids that she is taking care of. And she was really excited about trying a few new recipes that she was sharing with us.
Kat Murphy started a group last year. She thought that there's a lot of food left over in farmers' fields after the commercial harvest, so can we go get it? The groups carpool from the farm center parking lot and go out to wherever the farm is that's offered the gleaning harvest. And people just go and pick carrots or potatoes. The basic format is the gleaner gets a third, the farmer gets a third, and then the other third goes to a charitable organization like the Sally Ann or the Upper Room. There's a lot of produce going down there, so it's really upped the nutritional value of people that normally might not get it.
We'd actually been looking at the fact that several of our communities from which refugees have been coming were farming communities, and they, in their home country, had gardened and or farmed pretty extensively and were kind of missing that opportunity on the island. I'd been kind of looking for a way to find some access to land for them, because often, you know, when they first arrive, they're on a very low income. This is that combination of having enough space and being a downtown location that's walkable for many of our clients, particularly the ones who arrive as refugees. So it's just very ideal that way. I've heard a lot of people saying that, you know, they're really, really enjoying being able to have fresh vegetables through the summer for their family. And also just on the integration level, I think, you know, I hear about people talking to the people in the garden next to them saying, oh, I met this woman and she's really awesome and she was helping me and she was telling me about, you know, the plants that grow here and so on. So And there have been a lot of, potlucks and things that the Farm Centre has put on and different workshops that, both our clients and also all sorts of islanders have been involved in. So it's just a great way to kind of get to know your community, basically.
When I came here, I said that I'm really love to work with the farmer people because from back home Africa, I'm a farmer, so I don't want to sit, I want to work. Because when I came, I saw that when people is making the garden, I'm so happy to get food, and the evening later I plant something, and when it come up, somebody can go to some and they eat it, and they say, oh, thanks, God bless you. I like a blessing. I love a blessing. When someone just say, oh, God bless you, I really love it because in the future it will help me.
This is unique. This hasn't happened before, where Agriculture Canada has partnered with community organizations to come up with a new way of using land. Experimental farms being repurposed this way. There's a lot of enthusiasm for it. There's a real excitement as researchers see people in this space and experimenting in their own little space and bringing people back into this land. It's a great asset that we're beginning to more fully realize and use now.
We have a tremendous contribution from Agriculture Canada. The research branch of Agriculture Canada has a 2-acre plot in which they've divided their portion of the fields into 3 periods of island agricultural history. And they're growing food in the same proportion of which it was grown on the island during those time periods. And then they have a 4th section, which is their vision of the future, which introduces a whole host of new crops that are just sort of starting to be introduced on PEI. Part of the fun of the whole Legacy Garden is that it's honoring that past, it's recognizing the present in terms of the types of food that is grown, but we're also introducing a whole host of new crops that haven't been commercialized in PEI, particularly in the orchard area.
People care about where their food's coming from. There's increased demand for good, sustainably produced local food. There's all sorts of examples of smaller farms, diversified operations starting up on Prince Edward Island. And it'll be really exciting to see how we can really build to support these early pioneers in developing effective distribution marketing systems to support this initial resurgence of energy.
It's become a very active place. To see so many people out here, particularly in the evening after work, not just tending their own little plot, but also just conversing with their neighbors and meeting people in the community who they didn't know had a common interest. It sort of makes it, it really makes it all worthwhile.
The community garden is looking particularly sustainable given the amount of attention, enthusiasm, and energy flowing into it. People are already signing on for multiple years. We have a waiting list. There are people who want to be working in this space. And we're recruiting from the more active and present gardeners the leadership that will help sustain this space into the future. We're pulling on people, finding out what their skills and their strengths and their interests are, and leveraging that to support the project as a whole.